Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 60 of Quattroporte, the review series for the sedans, or saloons as they're sometimes called, on Gran Turismo. And generally speaking, sports sedans tend to be vehicles which are pretty good at acceleration and handling, whereas super saloons tend to be better at top-end power and top speed. Generally speaking, there are some exceptions, but not very many. Now, this vehicle had really great potential for the Subaru Impreza, but unfortunately, as with some other vehicles on Gran Turismo, for some strange reason, Polyphony chose to neuter what could have been an otherwise brilliant vehicle, and I don't get why they do that. There are so many cars on Gran Turismo which deserve to be modified beyond what they are allowed to be, and this is one of those cars. This is the most powerful Subaru road car in the game. It puts out even more power than the 22B. Now, it's not as fast as the 22B because of the frankly moronic method that PD chose to do to this car as far as tuning, and I don't get why they did it at all. Now, this vehicle is the Impreza sedan, the newer shape, which I personally really like the look of, and this is the S206 NBR, or Nürburgring Challenge Pack. It's inspired by the Nürburgring racing version of the Impreza sedan, and it's, as I said, extremely powerful. 634 horsepower, 516 foot-pounds of torque. This is a serious car, it means business, and although it is heavier than some of the other Imprezas at 1205 kilos, it's still far from being heavy, especially given that it is still all-wheel drive and is a reasonably large vehicle. Now, the engine is still the 2-litre Boxer turbo, which I really respect it for. I love the fact that Subaru still uses Boxer engines. But, despite all that potential, this car is not as quick as it should be. Now, the acceleration is pretty good, the handling is very good, the grip is excellent, the brakes are pretty good. The overall drivability, as it goes without saying really with the Subaru, is pretty beginner-friendly, but simultaneously very, very good for professional drivers. The biggest downside for this car is the fact that for no apparent reason, we cannot tune the gearbox. And that makes zero sense. If you're going to make the car tunable, make it tunable. If you're not, don't. Why go halfway? Why not allow us to tune one of the most important things about the car? Now, for the VGTs, I can understand that. You can't really do anything to those cars, most of them at least. But for a car like this, what were they thinking? It just completely negates every advantage that this car has. It's so powerful, and yet it's slower than the normal version of this same car. The top speed on this vehicle is over 200, but the normal version of the newer shape sedan can do over 220 anyway, so all that power just goes completely to waste. Now, this vehicle is more expensive than some other cars of its type. It's just under 60 grand, which still isn't too bad. That's a lot cheaper than many super saloons, and the biggest shame I think about this vehicle is because I'm not a huge fan of the Impreza, of any generation in particular, but this could have been for Impreza fans, and I feel for you guys who are fans of the car, because I would be really annoyed about this. For me, this would be like the speed of the TVR Speed 12 being reduced for no apparent reason. This car could have bridged the gap for the Impreza between being just a sports sedan, which most of them arguably are, and it could have turned it into a super saloon to really legitimately take on, not just around the track, but also for top speed, vehicles like the Chrysler 300Cs, the BMW M5s, the Mercedes E55s. Now, obviously, it wouldn't have been as quick as them, because it's still got a good 200 or 300 horsepower less than many of them, but it would have been closer. It could have allowed the Impreza to do over 240 miles per hour, potentially, depending on how the physics of the car were integrated. The 22B, as an example, can do over 230 relatively easily, so it's not that much of a stretch for this car to do a similar, if not greater, speed. So it really is a shame that you just can't do that. Now, be that as it may, is it a useful car? Because even with the power as it is, the PP still isn't ridiculously high. It sits at 590, which is pretty reasonable. I would say that this is a vehicle which I personally don't use because it annoys me. And it's not the car that annoys me, it's just how stupid the tuning with the car is. And that's all I can think of whenever I drive the car. For those who are fans of the Impreza, well, you probably already own this if you're an Impreza fan, but if you don't, then I think you will be happy with it. If you are a hardcore Subaru fan, it does deliver on all of the main points. It has the great handling, the trackability, the acceleration, the grip, the brakes, the value for money, etc. But that top speed lack really does hit the car hard. So as long as you go into the ownership experience of this car knowing that, you won't be as disappointed. If though you go into it as I did, not knowing that, when GT6 first came out, then you really will be disappointed. So overall, it's worth a try if you are a Subaru fan. Otherwise, you might just find the car frustrating. But that's it overall for this particular pick. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.